Okay, so the beat goes on with this Chelsea season. Unfortunately, we've gotten to the point where it's no secret now. Tony Rudiger is leaving the club to join Real Madrid, I do believe. So I want to take this next few minutes to just reflect on Rudiger's career. How did we get to this point? And sort of like highlight some of the things that I've kind of noticed over the course of the last few years that have kind of like taken us to this point. And what's the future for Chelsea going forward? We know the club's going to go on. We know that we're going to miss Tony Rudiger. But the club has to go on, and what steps do we need to make in order to get to the next level? I think when you look at Tony Rudiger's career, you have to start with the time that he spent under Antonio Conte. And again, in that back three setup, he was obviously a much more reliable defender than he was under, say, Maurizio Sarri or, Frank Lampard in his tenure. I just feel like he's just more comfortable in that role. It allows him to be more aggressive in a back three. It allows him to get up and down the pitch and have the safety valve. I feel like when he plays in a back four, the recklessness and the aggression that he likes to attack with, I think it leaves us a little bit more exposed. And, it's not that he can't play in a back four. I just think that he's much, much, much better in a back three. Just because the attributes that you like in Tony Rudiger come more to the forefront when he's, protected in the back three. But having said that, obviously most of the problems that Tony Rudiger faced was under his tenure with Frank Lampard. And, obviously the first season didn't go swimmingly. They were okay. Chelsea finished fourth. You saw Rudiger play some minutes. And, obviously then not too long after that, we saw Zuma get, a lot of the time, and Rudiger was basically, in and out of the lineup. And then when it came to this Lampard's second season and recommendations towards who they want to renew, who they want to move on from, Rudiger's name made that list. And, ultimately they were trying to move him in the summer of 2021. And, Rudiger clearly, or 2020, sorry, Rudiger clearly had his falling out with Frank. That next season, he didn't want to go to the Spurs. I believe that was the club that was offering for him. Didn't want to go there, decided to run down his contract, was seething on the bench. Just knowing how, Rudiger's personality type is, that him not playing and, having the falling out with Lampard, it was causing all sorts of consternation in the dressing room and just leading to, a divide. And, surely enough, Lampard's sacked, Thomas Tuchel comes in, and everything is changed. The atmosphere within the club is completely different. There's a real effort to fight for each other on the pitch, a real effort to be together, off the pitch. Like, the social medias are now very much lively, and people are speaking very highly of where the club is and whatnot. And, for me, Thomas Tuchel coaxed this out of Tony Rudiger by playing him all the time and getting the very best football out of him by playing him in a back three. Of course, Chelsea go on to win the Champions League. Spirits are high, emotions are high, everyone's feeling great, and recommendations come again for renewals. Rudiger is recommended for renewal, and at that point, obviously still carrying a grudge from his last meetings where, Marina basically said, we don't need you at this club. And, Lampard is recommended for you to be sold. Obviously there's a bit of bitterness hanging over from that. So he decides that he does not want to negotiate a new contract at that time. And Chelsea go into the 2021-2022 season with a player who is basically running down his contract and exploring his options. Clearly, Thomas Tuchel was able to get the best out of Rudiger. Rudiger loved playing for Thomas Tuchel. That much is evident in the fact that, like, he's an ever-present in that side, and Rudiger always gives 110%. Obviously Chelsea are looking to renegotiate with Rudiger now, and unfortunately, and you can put this on Marina, because I don't know how you can see somebody that's so important in the side, a guy that's durable, a guy that's played every minute, any situation that we're playing in, he's in the side. A guy that is a leader in the dressing room, a leader on the pitch. You don't give somebody like that 140K. You don't offer them that sort of like contract. I don't care how old he is. He's 29, 28, somewhere in around there. This is his last contract. He's thinking about his future. You have to make an offer that is, very much, something that he can sink his teeth into. And 140K just does not sit right with me, and obviously didn't sit right with his people. So, slowly Chelsea start to, put a little bit more on the table, nuggets here, nuggets there. We're getting to the point where Chelsea are probably going to retain the services of Rudiger, and then we're hit with a sanction. And, much of what a lot of Chelsea supporters have problems with when it comes to our board and the decisions they make is that it just takes too long. We take way too long to get these decisions over the line, and then as a result, we're left, holding the bag. In this case, Rudiger could not wait any longer. He wasn't able to wait for the new owners to come in and approve his new deal. He wasn't willing to wait that long. And as a result, we lose him now. I guess his last contract demand got up to about 230K, and his agent wanted a $10 million signing on fee. And it seems unreasonable, but at the same time, the amount of dicking around that we've been giving our best defender the last little while, I don't necessarily blame him for demanding that. He can demand something close to that on the open market, and probably got that with Real Madrid. I think the problem that we've kind of run into is that we've allowed him to run down his contract and dictate his demands, and then when he went into the open market and saw that what he was actually worth, when it was time for him to come back to the negotiating table, we're sanctioned and we can't make any move. So now we have to find somebody that not only can match his intensity on the pitch, but also his ability overall, his ability to get up and down the pitch, his never say die attitude, the commitment that he has 110% every time he's on, the durability. I think we can actually match his actual, his attributes on the pitch in terms of, the pace that he runs with, and, the physicality that he plays with. I think the things that we're going to struggle to match is just the intangibles. We're not going to be able to find another guy that, is such a great ambassador for the us versus them. The guy that rallies his teammates and rallies behind that banner, and, these are the types of things that you want in and around your club, especially when you have a young team that haven't really done a lot, haven't really experienced a lot, haven't really won as much as you'd like them to win. You want personality types that are leaders in and around them all the time. And you can't think of a bigger personality at the club right now in terms of leadership on and off the pitch, in terms of leading by example, his never say die attitude. Then, it's Rudiger. He's one of those guys that you can pitch your tent to and say, listen, this guy, no matter how much he plays, he's going to give you 110%. And, his energy is infectious enough that it can affect the other guys on the pitch. I just think that that's where Chelsea are not going to be able to place his quality. You can say all you want about all the defenders that, are great on the ball, can get up and down the pitch and whatnot. But one thing you cannot coax a lion to behave as a lamb, or a lamb to behave as a lion. Their born temperament is exactly what they are. And with Rudiger, I just think that he has the mentality of a lion. He has that within him, and we're going to be hard pressed to replace that quality. And I really do feel like team dynamic is very important, and having those personality types, a real winner, a lion, a guy that will not quit on the pitch, is just invaluable especially when you have a young squad. One of the things I do think that we have to look towards when we are looking to replace Rudiger is somebody that has obviously the pace to get up and down the pitch, but also somebody that has the aerial presence. I mean, obviously Thiago Silva, not the tallest in the world, but also advanced in age. We're going to need somebody that can get up and, win in aerial duels. Especially when you consider that Thomas Tuchel is looking like he's going to want to use Reece James in that role at the right-sided center back, maybe 45-50% of the time. Obviously, he prefers him as a wing back, but he's also said that Reece James is the type of guy that can just control the entire right flank. So there's going to be opportunities for him to play as a right-sided center back and just be a stopper for us there. So. He's obviously not the most aerial. He's not aerially gifted as well. So we're gonna need somebody in that back three that can win aerial duels and be a real commanding presence back there. Yeah, but beyond that, I really just think that Chelsea need to be starting to, hone leadership qualities, attract people to the club that want to be here, that aren't looking for the next payday, that want to, put on that kit, the Chelsea badge, and are leaders, can be leaders on the pitch, come into a dressing room the size of Chelsea's with, world-class players all over the place and still command the respect of of the dressing room. And, that's what Tony Rudiger brought. And I just think that when we look back at his time at Chelsea and we look to the future, those are the things that I think that we're going to miss the most, just his ability to be a leader and, be a real presence when chips are down and when we have big matches. You can't necessarily get that from any old center back, and I'm sorry to see him leave, just because I really feel like, those qualities are, very much a miss in world football. But having said that, I have to thank him for his stewardship at the club. I think Tony Rudiger has been an unbelievable player for us under Thomas Tuchel and spells under Antonio Conte as well. And to be honest with you, it's going to be very, very difficult to think of who can come in and replace him. But, that's the price that we pay for doing business the way we do. And hopefully in the future, Chelsea look at these situations a little bit more closely, and we, understand when we're in the driver's seat and when we're not, and we take that into account when we are renegotiating contracts of players that are indispensable in the side.